I can still fucking see it like it's a picture, so, you know. My father, prone on the floor, staring up at the ceiling, my mother wailing over his body.
It was very easy to say it was a suicide, so I began digging.
My initial thing was to find out what the fuck happened. Is this a suicide? Was this a murder?
In 2008, in the shadow of the financial crisis, William Broeksmit took on a senior executive role at Deutsche Bank. The pivotal players at Deutsche Bank were William Broeksmit, risk executive, and Michele Fasciola, who was the head of wealth management. Broeksmit and Fasciola would often butt heads. Broeksmit's job was to reduce risk at the bank, while Fasciola was there to increase risk, thereby increasing profits for the bank. When CEO Anshu Jain recommended William Broeksmit to become the chief risk officer for Deutsche Bank, German regulators nixed the idea. So Anshu gave him the position of a board seat on Deutsche Bank Trust Company of America.
What I found out is that he investigated. He wanted to know why there was so much money flowing through DBTCA. Maybe a month, maybe 3 or 4 weeks to a month before his suicide, he sends an email out. He raises concerns about what's happening. And maybe he knew something, and my father was a guy that it's like if something was wrong, he's gonna fix it, you know, no matter what. And maybe someone didn't want him to fix it. He hung himself with the dog's leash on the door frame. And there's a very strong metaphor for you, isn't it? The suicide notes. He leaves those in the dog bed, you know, neatly stuffed, and everyone has their own envelope with the name on it. And next to his body, there is papers.
A bunch of documents from Deutsche Bank around his body, which he believed his father was holding the documents when he hung himself, and when he died, the documents fell.
And yes, there were question marks literally on the paper that my dad said, "What the fuck?"
He asked his mother, "What should we do?" And she said, "Call Michelle."
Yeah, call Michele, call Michele. Now at this point I haven't met Michele, I don't know who he is. So I'm under the assumption that Michele is a lawyer.
He called him, and 2 minutes later, he was at the scene.
It turns out he's not a lawyer. He's the head of pretty much all of the wealth management asset at Deutsche Bank.
He went through the papers that were found around Broeksmit's body, all dealing with Deutsche Bank. He went through the computer that Broeksmit used.
But he did go to my father's computer, which was, you know, at the time I thought a little weird.
There is no evidence Fasciola was involved in any misconduct related to Broeksmit's death. But what was he looking for?
When I went through my father's emails, he's talking about playing tennis on Monday. He's planned and bought tickets to go skiing in Jackson Hole. Why he kills himself, I don't know. A couple suspicions I have. Could it be suicide by extortion? Could it be suicide by pressure, saying, you know, if you don't do this, we're gonna come after your family, and, you know, if you don't do this, we're gonna do this. It boggles my fucking mind, and it still does, and it's still a big question mark. I'm still trying to solve that puzzle.